Good to have with us here on the Breakfast Club, the mayor of Ashland, Steve Gilmore. Good to see you.
Same here, Jim. Thanks.
I haven't seen you since Christmas Eve.
Right.
When you came in and read for us. And by the way,
it was a great time here.
A lot of great comments about your reading of that. Yeah, seriously. I'm not kidding. Yeah. And you did a wonderful job.
Well, I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you coming by and doing that. Let's talk about what's happening here with 2020 just coming in. And the first thing I want to talk about just right off the bat is that people have seen in the paper that one of the city council members, Matt Perkins, is going to run for mayor. And then everybody was sort of waiting around to see if anybody else was going to run. And you had already said that you weren't going to seek re-election. So nobody else filed. And so Matt Perkins is going to run unopposed unless there's a write-ins or something.
Yeah, there could be write-in. He's a lucky guy. Matt's a good boy. He'll do a good job. I was lucky once. I ran back in 2002 for the unexpired term of the mayor at the time that had a serious problem, was in left office. And I ran, and there were 4 others that ran for that special election. It was a real strange one. I don't know if they ever had one in Kentucky before. You really didn't. You had an election in August, or you had to file by August, and just one shot you got. And but then after I served those 2 years, I filed for re-election, and no one filed. And I was told by all the history sages around town that had never happened before. So now Matt's number 2 that it didn't happen before. Again, that he doesn't have. It's a great feeling. I know I was coming back from Frankfurt. I was still in school business at the time, and Kevin Gunderson called me on the phone, and it was the final day. And he called me at 4:05, and I'm riding down 64, and he said, "Mr. Mayor, you have no competition. No one filed," and it's a really great feeling, and the not just the fact you don't have to go through all the campaign stuff again and spend money, knock on doors, bother some people, you are, and that's difficult. But the more I was in public office, I had to do less and less of that direct. I still did it. I still did that, but just in pockets of strong voting areas, But anyway, you feel good about that. But I will tell you, it's a great feeling, but I don't think it equals the feeling when you actually run against somebody and you win that vote. I've done both, so I can tell you that one thing, if I had my druthers, I'd just soon not have an opponent.
I'm sure everybody would.
Like Matt.
Yeah.
But the feeling of going through the campaign, stating who you are, what you're hoping to do, and then you win. The people vote for you. It's just a hard feeling to get across. And I've spoken to groups. All my years I've been in public service, and service clubs, just other type organizations. I say, I look around this room, and there's all kinds of people in here that, in my heart, I think you'd make a great mayor of Ashland, commissioner, the minimum, But I know from talking to people through the years that I say, you ought to get involved. You could get elected, and you'd do a great job because your motives would be sterling. And most people don't want to put their neck out there, And I've even talked to people who said, well, I'm not so worried about all that. I'm just not interested in the public being able to say yes or no on me. I'd rather just keep that to themselves. And that's unfortunate, but I think that's everywhere.
Yeah.
But you get over that. You can get over that by thinking, how bad do I want to be a public servant? Nobody runs down here for the small amount. I think we're the lowest paid elected officials in the state of Kentucky, Ashland, Kentucky. And they did research. City manager did a thing last year, year before. And fine. I kind of like that title because no one runs for the amount of money you get for serving. and if you did, it was kind of like when I was coaching. If you really figured up all your time, you get making about 20 cents an hour.
Yeah.
But you do it because you love it. It's kind of like, I became a coach and a teacher because I loved it. So I loved my job, so I never had to go to work all those years.
Yeah.
I looked forward every day because every day was different. In public service, every day is different. It truly is. And what I like about it is you can make a difference. You do make a difference, and you can make a bigger difference. And the other thing is that I preach all the time, the government close to the people is the purest government. And I mean, it's the one that affects you and your home, and all of my neighbors. We make decisions that work with you every day. You know, I saw one of the presidential candidates on TV this morning. He was talking about we've got to get back to when we make decisions in Washington, it affects the daily lives of citizens throughout the country.
Yeah.
And too many people in Washington, they it's over their head.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, they're trying to get reelected.
Right.
From the day they get elected, they're trying to get reelected.
And raise money. Yeah.
And raise money and have money and all these benefits, and they lose the touch with the common man and what people are going through. So when you're mayor of small town America, and you know, I've been working from actually before I got elected. I can talk more about the coke plant property now. I'm open about it because it looks like we've got a great potential going on to get people back to work at Armco. You know, I met with the AK officials after I got elected 3 years ago. Met with them before I ever got sworn in, and I talked to them about the coke plant property up here on Winchester. I passed it all the time on the rail and on the river. I knew it had been a chemical plant. You know, what can I do about it? So I met with the union hall down here and talked to those steel workers that were still left, you know, at AK, and they were upbeat about, you know, always hoping something's going to happen there. And of course, it's now closed. But, you know, I've worked every day with the EPA in Frankfurt. I went to Frankfurt at least 7 times. We hired consultants from Louisville. They're still hired by us that sample that property up there. It's very doable. And what did the mayor of Ashland want to do? The first day I went to Frankfurt and met with the deputy commissioner of EPA Environmental there. Now he's the commissioner, Tony Hatton, great guy. He said, Mayor, I know more about that property than anybody in the state. He said, I wrote the brownfield legislation in Kentucky. He said, what is it you want to do with it? I said, I want to make an industrial park and encapsulate. I learned about encapsulation in school system, being in the school system with some buildings that still had asbestos. But up there, he said, you can do that. He said, we would approve your application in 2 weeks. Well, you concrete, you asphalt, you dig ditches. We already have an easement through there. We already have our major pumps that go to our reservoir right through that property. So our men are up there all the time anyway. And so we have 142 plus acres that there are 3 hot spots, and our consultants came in, did all their sampling. They've done this. He said, I can recommend 6 good companies. I said, I want the one you'd recommend if you were the mayor of Ashland. He did. A great company. They came in. You can do what you want to do. So I've been working on it ever since. Have some interest. Actually been working with a company out of Cincinnati about the time this Cleveland Cliffs hit. You know, I've been in at least in touch with Lorenco Goncalves. I'm glad I haven't talked to him on the phone because I'm afraid to screw his name up. He's the chairman of the board, CEO, president. And just reading his comments in the paper where they actually mention Amanda Furnace, that meant mountains to me. But I have advised them that, you know, we stand ready to help any way we can to make that some kind of an orderly process to get our people back to work. And I think it's going to happen. I truly do. And so with that, I'm confident we'll utilize the coke plant property too, which is all I want. You know, I worked with AK, and in deference to them, they were going to make the city an absolutely almost a gift to that property. But it has some tags to it, some liability tags. The EPA's already told me we can do what we want to do, but it's still, I couldn't accept it and sign the contract. Got a contract on my desk. It's been there for 2 years. I can't sign it on behalf of my 22,000 residents because of the liability issues at this point. But so now I think with Cleveland Cliffs coming in, they're not concerned about it. The guys out of Cincinnati who have bought 2 prior AK properties to develop, they weren't a bit concerned about it. They do this sort of thing. So it's a dream I had from the day I took office to get jobs up there in the city limits of Ashland that would produce good paying jobs. So at least in my last year now, I can try to work closely with Cleveland Cliffs to make this a reality down here. I think it can happen. I think they know too much about the plant that I think, and it sounds to me like that company's been around a long time.
Yeah.
They don't make bad decisions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. We're going to take a short break for 30 seconds. We'll come right back and talk about work down here at 16th Street in Ashland.
McMeans Pharmacy has 2 locations to serve you. Stop by 29th Street and Carter Avenue in Ashland or in their South Point location. Call McMeans Pharmacy in Ashland at 325-8400. In South Point, call 740-377-2677. For all your pharmacy needs, McMeans Pharmacy is the place for you. McMeans Pharmacy in Ashland and South Point. In Ashland, call 325-8400. In South Point, call 377-2677.
Back here on the Breakfast Cup, talking with the mayor of Ashland, Steve Gilmore. A lot of work getting ready to get started here at the 16th Street Plaza, right?
Right. Let me say, I've known John McMeans many years. He's one of the finest men I've ever known. And I'm proud that he's a sponsor of this show.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's going to sponsor the show whether I'm here or not. But I think he probably appreciates the fact that I'm doing
absolutely.
it.
There's no doubt.
But it's a hometown guy, and he's successful, and he's just a great guy. Well, let me tell you about 16th Street. I think you and I have touched before that I actually tried to do this project when I was mayor from 02 to 08, and we never could come up with the money we really needed to do it and do it right. See, that's the difference. We can change the face of that, but we want to do it right. So this time around, the day I took office, I started working on it again. And Kim Jenkins, Sweet Bay Landscaping, which is as good as it gets. You know, she's a landscape architect and has done so much free gratis work for us in the city in Central Park. I mean, she just says who she is. She's just a great citizen, but very, very, very good architect on things like this. Well, she's really put a great plan together, and we got Ian Engineering to engineer it because there's a whole lot that goes in over here. You know, we're going to have 2 fountains that are shooting water, and the piping, the drainage to make sure the bank's okay. I mean, there's a whole lot to this. So we've been prudent and efficient in the city, and my finance office was able to, of course, we're working on a few grants and awards, but they were able to come up with the funds, no additional tax involved or anything like that, but to do it right. So, and not only were we doing the 16th Street Plaza, we were going to come back as soon as possible and go on to Carter Avenue. Well, we're doing that whole area now from Carter. In fact, they're going to start on Carter and come back this way. And I probably won't be here, you know, the subsequent years, but we intend that commission's 100% behind all this. Is head right on down 16th Street. It in the old days it was called Broadway, and much like small towns over in Ohio in particular, and I talk about Lebanon all the time because we go there over there every year for the longest horse and buggy Christmas parade in America.
You told me about that. Yeah,
and in the middle of their town, it's a little small town, 8,000 people or something, but they have big wide street like Winchester Avenue, and it's because the stagecoach runs. And so I'm confident that's why we have the widths and all. They turn around easily, go on up into West Virginia, head back to Ohio, whatever. So we'll probably somehow get back and touch on the fact that that's Broadway, the original name of that. And I have all the original plats from it. But we want to go on down Broadway to Greenup and tie the riverfront into this, and of course Central Park tied into down here. It's going to be unbelievable. We would have started work yesterday. That was with a contractor, local contractors, DebCon. They've done work downtown here for years, in years past when I was commissioner. They're outstanding. They know what they're doing. They're going to start the 21st, the day after Martin Luther King Day, and trying to work with Presbyterian Church, who each year have a free luncheon for everybody that marches up here to the plaza.
Sure.
So we're going to delay 1 week, but then the day after we're going to start, and that whole area will be blocked off. We'll be working with the church throughout the year to make sure they have ingress and egress for services, funerals, whatever. And then in turn, on the corner down here with Speedy Signs and Tommy Conley's place that I've used and would recommend them to anybody, they're right on the corner. They're going to be affected some, but we've met with them, and contractors know. I have a meeting this afternoon with the contractors, my second one with them. You know, my first one's always to explain to them, you're part of history with this project. This is somewhat like the statues. This is going to be a hallmark area right in the center of our town. And we want it's going to be beautiful when we get through, but in the meantime, we want to be less invasive on these businesses. The county clerk's office, great to work with, Debbie Jones, her people. They're they're going to deal with it too, and because we're going to change the configuration down there, the parking is to take the sidewalks out, make angle parking there to add about 9 spaces, which are very important downtown. Everybody's charged up about it. Of course, the people affected daily are concerned, and we're going to be working closely with them. I think our public they're going to love it. It's going to have a permanent stage. It's going to be a casual park area. And with seating that can be moved around, beautiful plantings. As I said, these water fountains that shoot the water back and forth.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hallmark little park.
Yeah.
And it's going to be larger than the face that we have there now. It's actually going to move out into 16th Street there. There'll be one lane through between the church and this park, and then it goes back into the triple lanes into Carter. But it's going to be a place where we have activities, not just events, but activities, and we're hoping to have a couple hundred or more activities going on there throughout a year. So it's going to be a central place to bring people downtown. And I just throw in, this commission is united to go to 2-lane on on Winchester Avenue, go to angle parking, to give it a try. We had Roger Brooks come in, who's the visionary guru of downtown developments. And for a 5-block area, we're going to give it our best shot. The downtown should be a destination, not a place to get to the bridge, to go across. And we will stop at 14th because we're not going to cause a bottleneck right in front of the bridge area. However, people want to get across the bridge, go down Greenup Avenue, go down Carter Avenue. We want people coming down in Winchester that want to shop, want to stop, go in the banks, go to see lawyers, go to eating establishments. And what we think is going to happen is more establishments are going to locate. We used to talk about you bring shops and things in downtown to bring people downtown. Well, that's true. But you start bringing people downtown in a more orderly fashion, slow them down, look around. We think a lot of these shop fronts are going to fill up. And, of course, we can't wait to EB Jevenum right across the street from us here now. That's going to be a hallmark place for us and drawing people into the immediate downtown. We want it to be a living room of our citizenry where they feel comfortable coming down. We already have an arcade almost full and all kinds of unique things you can't get anywhere else, certainly not in the mall. It's going to help our mall. The mall is going to feed up in here to us. We think that the 16th Street Plaza is yet to be named, but we think it's going to be that draw, that a center of downtown. Any small town, large town, they have more of them maybe, is going to be proud of.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be exciting. All right.
I expect a lot of live remotes out there.
Oh, we'll be looking forward to that. Mayor, thanks for coming by and talking to us. We appreciate it, and
Thanks,
we look
Jim.
forward to maybe having you again in a couple of weeks.
I'll be here,
and we'll talk some more about downtown and some other things going on.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, Mayor Steve Gilmore, his presence here on the Breakfast Club, brought to you by McMeans Pharmacy.